Hey, storyteller. Is every scene in your story necessary? How can you tell? Like people, each scene needs a goal and a purpose. Otherwise, it may wander and never really get anywhere, take the story down unnecessary paths, or completely derail your plans, aka your plot. To keep every scene and the story as a whole on track, you need to know not only where it's headed, but why you're including it. The last thing your story needs is the unnecessary filler that can result when a scene has no clear purpose. Welcome to this week's writer coaching session, where we'll discuss more than 10 purposes you can use to ensure that every scene makes a powerful contribution to your story. I'm Bridget from B Squared Writer Coaching, an author, editor, and your story coach, here to help you make your story powerful, polished, and publishable. First, I have a gift for you just for visiting my channel, my real method to creating unforgettable characters. As we will discuss today, one of the strongest purposes a scene can fulfill is revealing more about the characters. But how can we write these scenes in a way that makes our characters feel three-dimensional and realistic? This PDF outlines 4 easy steps you can use to make any character memorable without needing to write boring, extensive character biographies. Just click the link in the description or visit b2writercoaching.com/real. That's the letter B, the number 2, writercoaching.com/REAL to download your copy today. And be sure to stick around to the end of this video so you won't miss this week's Power Up, a super practical action step you can use right now in the story you're working on. Now let's get into part 2 in our series on how to write powerful scenes. First, I need to point out that every scene, no matter its other purposes, must move the story forward. If it doesn't, it should be revised or removed. While a scene's goal is usually related to the plot or to moving the story forward, its purpose can involve any of the 5 building blocks of story: character, plot, conflict, setting, or theme. We will examine several scene purposes related to each of these. Every scene should deepen your reader's connection with or understanding of your characters. The first scene purpose related to character that we will discuss is revealing more about your protagonist. You can do this by showing the way he or she responds to conflict, his or her goals, the character's reactions to specific situations, events, or revelations, the thought process that leads to a key decision, or events from the protagonist's past that have shaped his or her personality or actions, revealed through dialogue, snippets of backstory, or flashbacks. The second character-related purpose we may use for a scene is to advance the protagonist's character arc. In some way, each scene should contribute to your protagonist's character arc and transformation. Yes, even scenes in another character's point of view, including the antagonists. After all, everything that happens in a story has an effect, direct or indirect, on its main character. Include scenes that show various stages of the gradual transformation of your protagonist, whether that's positive or negative, and that contribute to the forward progress of the story. For information on what character arcs are and the 3 types you can use, check out this video linked above, and I'll also link it in the description. A third purpose related to character that we can give our scenes is to deepen the relationships between characters. We especially need to show relationships deepening or disintegrating between the protagonist and other characters. Your scenes should add depth, bonding, or degeneration, tearing apart, to these characters' relationships. One of the most powerful types of relationships we can include in any genre is a romantic subplot. For tips on how to do so, check out this video linked above, and I'll also link it in the description. As I mentioned earlier, every scene must move the story forward. But how? By providing new information related to the plot. That information can arrive in several forms: as action, revelation, backstory that impacts present events, character thoughts, or even interactions with various aspects of the setting. The first purpose related to plot we can give a scene is to reveal more about the overall story problem. All scenes should contain their own character goals, conflicts, and mini-stories, but each must contribute to the main story problem or to its solution. The main story problem is the central conflict of the story, whether that is the internal conflict or the external conflict the protagonist is facing. A scene may reveal a clue or a piece of the puzzle that gives the reader, and often the protagonist, a better understanding of the problem or its solution. Another plot-related purpose is to show smaller events that lead to a larger one. In a mystery or adventure, for example, several minor actions, interactions, and detours may lead to the discovery of the next clue. The protagonist may face minor setbacks or small victories that lead to the next critical obstacle or challenge in his or her quest for the main goal. And another plot-related purpose we can give our scenes is to deepen the viewpoint characters or protagonists' resolve to continue on the present course or change his or her mind on how to proceed. A decision to change can affect his or her upcoming actions or behaviors, either in general or towards specific characters. Are you finding this helpful so far? If so, consider clicking the like button so YouTube will show this video to other writers like you. Since scenes are mini stories, each of them should contain some kind of conflict or dilemma. Otherwise, nothing really happens in the scene. The story may become boring, and readers may find themselves wondering, what's the point? Some scenes are written with conflict creation as their sole or main objective. The first conflict-related purpose we can use is to raise the stakes in the story. To do this, we need to keep readers and our characters guessing. Withhold the answers to questions and the solutions to problems your characters face. Give readers just enough satisfaction to avoid frustrating them. We can do this by answering one smaller question while raising another one. Like dropping breadcrumbs to entice an animal to follow you, make some plot solutions and answers instant or happen early in the story while delaying others. Use conflict to make it difficult for your protagonist to reach his or her goal. Keep the goal just out of reach, and readers will keep turning pages to find out if your protagonist ever achieves it. Use try-fail cycles to establish the protagonist's arc through cause and effect. This can occur in two forms: yes, but, and no and. In a yes but situation, the protagonist achieves the goal for this scene, the yes, but a bigger or different problem or setback arises, often as a result, and that would be the but. Yes, he achieved the goal, but this other thing happened. In a no and situation, the protagonist fails to achieve the goal for this scene, which is the no, and that failure leads to the next plot event or conflict. For the various types of conflict you can use to raise your story's stakes, check out this video linked above, and I'll also link it in the description. Another conflict-related purpose we can give our scenes is to reveal the consequences of previous actions or decisions. Unintended consequences are powerful sources of conflict and catalysts of character change. Do not neglect to show the ramifications of a character's choice, confrontations, revelations, or events. Some examples of consequences that cause or add to conflict include injury to self or others, guilt, arrest, property damage, relationship tension or severing, shock, political upheaval, war or escalating battles, etc. For more on how to use conflict and dilemmas in your scenes to move the story forward, check out this video linked above, and I'll also link it in the description. Revelation of setting detail can also make a good purpose for a scene. To prevent our characters from becoming talking heads, disembodied deliverers of dialogue that float in a nondescript void, we must include setting in every scene. Sometimes we may want to include a scene solely for the purpose of revealing some new aspect of the story world. This is a fine purpose for a scene, as long as it isn't the only one. Remember, your scene must also move the story forward. The first setting-related purpose that every scene needs to fulfill is to anchor the reader in the time and place of the story. Giving the reader context for the story's events, the time period, and location will help them not only experience the story more fully, but also understand the reasons behind and consequences of certain actions and character thought processes. The second setting-related purpose we can have for our scenes is world building. Whether a story takes place in the reader's own familiar environment or in a fantasy world, include scenes that reveal key aspects of the setting to help readers see, hear, feel, and smell the characters' surroundings, and understand the world that shaped them. For tips on describing sensory detail in your stories, check out this video linked above, and I'll also link it in the description. Theme, like setting, should not be a scene's sole purpose, but you can use scenes that also fulfill other objectives to hint at or reveal the message or main point of your story. To do so, use imagery, atmosphere, subtext, consequences to character actions, interactions between characters, dialogue without becoming preachy, and other subtle methods. What do I mean by preachy? Well, for a deeper explanation of that and tips on how to avoid it, check out this video linked above. I'll also link it in the description. Remember, every scene shares one goal: to move the story forward, and one purpose: to keep readers engaged, wondering what will happen next and turning pages. Before we move on, just a quick reminder, if you haven't done so already, be sure to download your copy of The Real Method to Creating Unforgettable Characters. Click the link in the description or visit b2writercoaching.com/real. For this week's power-up, examine a particular scene that may be causing you issues, one you aren't sure is necessary, or if you're ready for the editing phase, look at each of your story scenes and and determine what that scene's purpose is. Does it fulfill any of those I've listed in this video or another purpose I haven't mentioned? If not, consider how you might revise that scene to give it a clearer reason for inclusion in the story, or move any bits of necessary information to another, stronger scene and cut this one. As we've discussed several times, besides having another clear purpose, a scene must move the story forward. For tips on how to make sure all your scenes do so, check out this video. And for more videos in this series on how to write powerful scenes, check out this playlist. And let's power up your storytelling.